Hi everyone, like the introduction, my name is Wenting. Today I'm here to talk to you about customizable icons with font technology. So now like icons and fonts aren't exactly strangers to one another. We have all heard about icon fonts like Font Awesome. Some of us may have even made an icon font using apps like Icon Moon. Icon fonts is just like any other font, except instead of letter A, B, or C, each glyph is an icon, like a menu icon or a heart icon. Font is a very convenient format to package and deliver icons on the web, but it doesn't provide any additional functionalities. It's just a vehicle to transport the icon. That's why a lot of people didn't like that actually. Well, that is until now, because I'm here today talking about how font can bring extra functionality to its buddy icons through new development in font technology. So now let's get a very brief look at font technology. Font technology has a very fascinating history. If you ever need to kill some time, I highly recommend digging into this rabbit hole. A lot of interesting ideas were explored during hundreds of years of evolvement. The general trend is that font is becoming more and more variable. In other words, more and more aspect of the font is becoming configurable or customizable. I just want to throw some rabbit hole lore to you guys, and these three is very fascinating, especially the linotype. Linotype is very cool because a lot of people like to use mechanical keyboard nowadays. Feels very substantial to type. But you imagine that you are typing on one hand, and the machine is melting some lead and mold them into the text that you are type. Hence the name line of type. So every line of the text that you have typed, you get a piece of lead actually molded into the text that you have typed out. Just want to give some ideas out there for you to do, some rabbit hole digging. So I'm here today talking about how font can bring extra functionality to its buddy icons, and let's talk about what type has transformed initially. So initially font looks like this: metal type stored in a wooden cabinets with lots of drawers. Fonts were a very substantial asset back then. If you ever wondered where the name uppercase and lowercase letters come from, it is because the uppercase letters were historically stored in the upper drawer and lowercase stored in the lower drawer. That's where the name comes from. In the stage of metal type, we can configure font size freely. Each size has to be forged. You can only ask for what size that we have, like 14 points, like 18 points. But if you want a 15 points, then well, tough luck. We normally don't forge a 15 point. We only have certain size available for you to pick. By the way, when I say we, I was referring to the font foundries, companies that design and make fonts. A foundry is a factory that produces metal castings. And back then, a font foundry was literally a foundry in every sense of the word. We're still called font foundry till today, even though font makers like myself don't mess around with hot melted metal anymore. So back to what we were talking about with digital font, we can have 15 points inside. We can have any size. We can have 15.5 if our hearts desire to. The change in font size is infinite now. We can have any value within a range. If we were to animate text, just like the GIF shows, the font size change would be continuous instead of very choppy stops. So physical versus digital type. With metal type, the number is discrete. It's a discrete variable in mathematically speaking. It's 8, 10, but you don't get 9, you don't get 9.5. It's discrete variables. With digital type, the font size become a continuous variable. It can be any number within a range. So 8, 10, 10.1, 10.2, whatever number you want. Fast forward to recent years, there's another property of font that went through the same revolution: font weight. With most static font families, we have regular and bold. In CSS, it's 400 and 700. You can only, just like the font size with metal type, you can only ask for what weight that we have. If we happen to design a medium 500, then you can have 500. But if you want 550, then tough luck again. We don't normally design a 550 font weight. Font weight was a discrete variable. With variable font technology, font weight becomes a continuous variable. You can ask for any number within a range. You want 401, 503, not a problem. You can have those. Variable fonts were first announced in the year of 2016. 6 years has passed. It now has gained support in almost all the major browsers, some of the Adobe apps, and Figma as well. The variable font weight can easily remind us of something, the stroke width of icons. Some SVG-powered icon pack makes the stroke width somewhat configurable, like the screenshot shows. But it's only just 1 pixel or 2 pixel. As you can see in the GIF, it's choppy stops. You can only get those discrete numbers, right? You don't get 2.1, 2.2. You only get 2 or 2.5, the number that they pre-design and embedding in their SVG app. Well, with variable font, the weight can be endless. We can set the weight or the stroke width to any number. The icon stroke width become infinitely configurable, and the change is continuous, it's smooth. What is even more amazing about variable font technology is that it's not just limited to font weight only. Taking this font, for example, is called Chi. It has defined a custom property called gravity. Gravity is a custom variable axis controlling a very unique and very specific design feature that the type designer thought of. Any design feature of a font can be made customizable using a custom variable axis. Then what about icons? This just gives us endless ideas. Taking the heart icon as example, we can have a super skinny heart or a very flat one. The concave on the top can be very deep or very shallow. The point on the bottom can be very sharp or very dull. And icon become infinitely customizable without us ever having to open Adobe Illustrator or Figma. The benefit of a customizable icon using variable font technology is its ease of use. Compared to the alternative on the left, editing Bezier curves, it gives a much straightforward, controlled way to customize an icon and make them unique to my usage. One of the immediate usage of customizable icon is logo design software, which is what we're building at Typograph. Logo design often involves icon, and off-the-shelf static icon sometimes is not unique enough to be incorporated into a logo. But drawing a custom one with Bezier curves is difficult, not for everyone. That's why we're building a suite of customizable icons just like this. Here's a demo clip of how customizable icons are being used in Typograph in a feature called Swap with Icon. So you select a certain shape, you can swap with an icon, and you can configure that shape, that icon to your liking, maybe more accustomed to how the rest of the type look, maybe a little squared off for this particular heart icon, and so it looks more fitting and unique, make this logo one of a kind. I hope this talk brings some new information or new perspective to you. If you're interested, there are more to explore. We have also explored animated icon with the same technology. As you can imagine, the little slider becomes a timeline rather than a customization slider. We also have explored dual tone icons with color font technology, another new technology about font. That font can be not so monotone, it can have layers, and each layer can have a different color. Check out Anycons, that's another project by our Typograph team. Finally, a little about us. Typograph is a startup of just 2 people, me and my co-founder Hua. You can find our work on typograph.co. I also write, just like the introduction, I write a weekly newsletter sharing my startup journey, completely free. It's a short read about the day-to-day struggles and triumphs of my life as a bootstrap founder. Thank you for tuning in.